Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Tuesday, February 27th, and this will be our chart lesson for today. Not a lot of movement today. It was mostly sideways, but we were down early, and then we bounced off. We actually had a little failed break lower, and then got back in the range, and then rallied. So even though there's not a lot of movement today, it's an up day. Um, I mean, you rarely see more than one or two down days in a row anymore. So this market just does not want to go down. Um, it has one direction, and that's up right now. So uh, take it out. We'll take it however it comes. But yeah, not a lot of movement today. There's a few trades today because we did have a trend down early and then a trend up. But you'll see that when we flip over. Let's flip over to the 2,000 tick chart. Not much to look at here. Let me just zoom in a little closer here where you can see it. But you can see not much happening today. Kind of a small bar the last few days. Honestly, I think the volume's probably been down some, maybe. But let's flip over to the 2,000 tick chart. And here it is. And you can see we were in this range earlier, but it is working lower. There's no doubt there's a trend line working down through here. And we had a little close outside, a move to a new low that actually broke outside the lows of the range. It quickly failed, got back in the range, and off we went to in the races to the highs. Okay, I had a little interruption there, but here it is. We had a downtrend with a failed breakout, and of course that led to a big rally. And that's what usually happens on these breakouts. They create a reversal, and this thing rockets straight up, and we close almost on the highs of the day. So nothing different than what we've been seeing over and over and over for weeks now. So it's pretty typical for the day, unless we just rally all day. It has a sell off and then seems to reverse and take most of it back, if not all of it back, like it did today. A lot of this is sideways though, but you can clearly see that trend line working down through there. So we had the break, moved to a new low, and then it reversed. So a couple of news items. There was a 7:30 news item and then a 9 o'clock news item. So it kind of limited your trades early. Not a lot going on till a little bit later. This one here you might mark as green. I'll go ahead and mark it as green. Technically what that is a little failed break out of this little tight range right here. And you would expect prices to fail out of there, but it's just kind of congested. It's not a real big range. So, but you would expect prices to at least come back to that EMA and maybe to here. And you could actually trade that on the engulfing bar. And it is right off the key entry point. So that's why I somewhat like it. I went back and forth about whether or not to make that green or red, but I think you have to make it green because it's just a first entry. So, but let's zoom in here and we'll go through these trades and we'll wrap the day up. 7 o'clock came as we're coming down. No trade because of the 7:30 news. There's nothing in here, nothing on this trend down you can really trade. And then we're just kind of going sideways and we took off. This high or low is tempting, but it's right into all those highs. I just think you have to wait. There is a little bit of a trap here, but by the time that bar closes, it's way up here, and you know you're trading a reversal there, and that would be somewhat of a spot you're looking for a reversal, but I just think it's too risky, so I didn't mark it. Plus, it's right during the news. That was the main reason you don't mark that, is because it's during the 9 o'clock news item. It's just before the news. In fact, that's probably what spurned that big bar was the news, so you really can't trade that. Then we come out, and just as we come out of the news, we get a 1, 2, 3 triple test with a nice signal bar. I like that one. It gets a scalp. It doesn't get much more, and then it runs up to that other trade we talked about. But you could trade that as a failed breakout. Generally, you want to wait on a lower high, which is here, but then it's right into the support resistance line, and so far twice it's acted as, if you drag that over, you can see it. You can see it acts as resistance a couple of times. It just looks congested there. So even though that would have worked, I think you have to skip it. But then we come back and we end up getting a 1, 2, 3 triple test here, and that's a second entry short. This is a new low, so first entry, then it went higher. So when it breaks below those 2-bar matching lows, that's a second entry short, and that was the safer place to enter. It turns out to be a nice trade. Then it comes back, and you get a first entry plus a close outside a new high, and right off the key entry point again, a second entry short. I mean, you want to take those all day long. This is a lower high. Normally, I mean, that's probably close to being bearish enough, but the reason I didn't mark it was because of the 2-bar matching low. When that made an inside bar, you can see how it bounces back right there. It's a little risky entering that trade. It turns out it would have worked, but you can't risk that. So I wanted to mark that just so I didn't forget to talk about it. And we continue to just chop lower. There's a second entry here, but this is an inside bar. If you had a little better setup here, if this made it an equal high, I wouldn't have a problem if you took that trade. On mine, this is your signal bar though, and then you have the 2-bar matching low, so it's just a little risky. But real quickly, you get a lower high here. It's just a first entry, but it is a lower high. Actually, both of these are lower highs, because here's your last high. This is a lower high. This is a lower high. But this signal bar qualifies, so, and you still got plenty of room to the lows, so I like that one. And then suddenly you have a first entry, second entry, but that signal bar is no good there. But then it tries to go higher again and fails and turns down. I wouldn't trade that on the engulfing bar, but that's a really bearish bar on a second entry short. So if it breaks below that, I like going with it. Just a first entry there, just a first entry there. And these are all just first entries down through here. You just can't go short like that. I mean, it's starting to set up to look like a really bearish trend, but the next thing you know, it's running higher. So I just don't think it was anything worth taking. Now this one's interesting here. I got several emails about this one. Most of the people, they didn't have a break of their trend line here, and they were calling this a second entry. And if you took that, it would have worked. But somebody else entered here. By that time, it's too congested. So I don't think you can go short there. I don't really even like going short here because there's your support resistance line, and it's been acting as support a couple of times. So based on the way my read is, we've already had a break in new low. I wouldn't take that trade. It would have worked if you took it. It's a second entry. That's the thing. Second entries are really powerful. And it would have been just enough to work. But if you entered here, you got stopped out before it went lower. So to me, this is just all looks too congested, and we've already had the break. So, but no entry here. The signal bar is too bullish. But watch what happens here. We break lower again and fail, and come back and make a higher low here. But that's also a new high. So first entry, pull back when it breaks higher. That's a second entry long, a higher low after breaking down through here and getting back in and finding support there. I like going long there. It takes it a minute, but this ends up taking off. If you entered this, if your chart looks like mine and you entered there, you should have been able to get a runner on this. And this is where you look for runners on a range day on these breakouts like this. And this thing just takes off. And so you would have had an easy runner on that. And then you get up here and you get a little correction and you get a first entry, then it pulls back, and plus you get a close outside and a new low, and then when it breaks above there's a second entry long right off the midline, and we kind of bounced around that midline right there as well. So I like taking that one, and it runs on up again. It doesn't go far, but it gets you a nice runner. Comes back here and you got another channel. It just kind of takes off. You don't really get a setup on that one. Same thing here. It comes back and you don't really get a setup. There is a hidden second entry in there, and it is right off the key entry point. You might even say, hey, there's, we're coming across there 3 times. It doesn't technically is not a triple test, but it's a higher low and a higher high every time. So, if you wanted to be aggressive, maybe you can take that trade. Okay, had another slight interruption there. It's just hadn't been my day, but there is a two-legged correction there. It's a hidden second entry. It's right off the key entry point. It's been a pretty strong trend. We are right off the midline somewhat there, so we really kind of, you could almost argue you could probably adjust this lower line now, and you probably will find out is three tests of the, I would say the lows, or you get more touches maybe right across here now, but that still don't help you with your midline. But if you bring it all the way down, it just makes it further away. So, but I think you get more touches. I'm just trying to see where it kind of fits the best. Because that's where I usually put this. It may not always be at the highs, very highs or very lows. It's usually where you get the most touches and bounces. And I mean, that still seems to be right in here, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, it's real close to that midline. And you could argue that we came back three times. The key is that main trend line right there, and that confirms it. Again, that's green anyway, so it's a little aggressive. Most of you aren't probably going to want to take those type trades. But if you took that trade and you're wondering about it, yeah, I'd probably mark it green. And this late in the day, I don't know if I'd take it personally, but there it is. So anyway, that's how I saw it today. You can clearly see there was a downtrend with a break and new low, and then there was an uptrend. Looks like we kind of had a little overshoot right there. If you move this to the high, it still all fits pretty nicely. I don't see any problem with it. So however you played it, but to me it looks like a little bit of an overshoot. It seems to play better there and fit better there, but we still didn't get a break until well after 2:30, so it doesn't matter anyway. This was all in here. Most of what it would have affected would have been after 2:30, so it didn't matter how you really saw it. But there it is. Not a lot of trades again today. It's a lot. I mean, really, for the most part, if it hadn't been for this trend line, this would have been difficult trading, and there probably wouldn't have been many trades at all. But there's clearly a trend line working down through there, and you can see it. And so play that trend line. And you can clearly see we're making lower highs. We did make a higher high here, but as far as closes, they're still lower. And, you always include the stem, but when you're trying to find trend lines and things, sometimes the stems being outside, it does not matter. You want a convincing close outside, which we had a couple of them here before it went lower. So anyway, there it is. That's how I saw it today. I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday, so that will wrap up. Or no, tomorrow's just Wednesday. So, but just real quickly, I'm going to be here Thursday, but I'm leaving town Thursday night after work. So we'll have a regular week as far as the chart lessons go. However, on Friday morning, there will not be a mid-morning report, and I won't be in the office Friday. I'm going to take that day off. So I'll be off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So another long weekend for me. But I have some personal things I need to do, going out of town, family things, and so I will be out of pocket Friday. So if you send me anything Friday, it won't get answered probably till Monday. So I would just probably hold it, especially any kind of trading questions or anything like that. But anyway, I'll be back tomorrow. And like I said, as far as our YouTube lessons, I'll still do one Thursday. So it won't affect anything as far as that goes. This will be the Friday morning, mid-morning chart, and me answering any emails on Friday. So, but I'm going to wrap it up. This is Matt with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.